Brew Strong is brought to you by Blickman Engineering, home of the top-tier brewing stand. Visit them online at blickmanengineering.com.
Brewers, it's time for the beer radio you've been looking for. This is the show that dispels myths, tackles the toughest topics, and makes no apologies for geeking out on beer. Hosted by two guys that drink before they think. Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. This is Brew Strong.
Hey, howdy, hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings.
Sounds like you were in the process of pushing one out there, John. I didn't interrupt you on the toilet, did I?
No, not at all. No. Excited about all the good news in front of me at the moment.
Yes. Let me tell you a little story, John.
Okay.
I do this other show called Brewing with Style, a.k.a. the Jamel Show. Mm-hmm. And last time I was in here, you know, we're using our olfactory senses. We're really digging deep into the beers and giving our best analysis. And I put on the headphones, and I'm telling Steve here. I'm like, Steve, I smell cologne. I smell like a really strong cologne. Hey, you're not wearing cologne, are you, Steve? I mean, a lot of the porn guys do. And he's like, no, it's not me. I'm just smelling it. On the drive home, I'm smelling cologne. By the time I get home, I smell cologne. I'm like, what? The headphones. I rub my hands across my ears, put it in front of my nose. It reeks of cologne. Just like, oh my freaking God. These stanky ass old headphones. So I tell Justin about it. Next time I'm on the phone with Justin, I tell him about this. Not because I want different headphones, but because I want to see the reaction on his face when I describe this to him, because I know he's going to freak out about how disgusting that is.
Yeah.
Because it's not the bacteria that you can't see or smell.
No, this is...
You can smell something.
Odor.
Yeah. Right. And so today
he's sensitive to.
He brought me a brand new pair of really expensive, really nice headphones. Little carry bag with a drawstring. He's like, here.
Kind of like a purse?
Don't leave. Yeah, it's like my man purse. He's like, don't leave this in the studio.
Take it with you.
Take this home with you. So I after 10 years, I have a brand new pair of headphones, and I cannot tell you how glorious it is. I've actually got the volume turned down about, 3/4 of what it normally is. I've got it cranked way down. I can hear every little last thing. There's no grease running down the sides of my head anymore. Oh. It's just lovely.
I'm very happy for you, my friend.
Hey, it's the small things in life that make you happy.
That's true.
I keep telling my wife that. And
you got to set a no cologne policy.
She doesn't quite believe it, but yes, we have a no cologne policy now. Well, and you're doing a show where you're dealing with the aromatics, the sensory. Yes, thank you, Michael. We've got Michael Fairbrother from Moonlight Meadery here in the studio with us. Master mead maker out of New Hampshire.
Would you say your sensory perception of smell is more heightened since you started brewing?
Oh, by a long, long shot. Brewing helped. Judging helped even more. And then doing these shows and like being put on the spot all the time has got me to like a laser focus.
I would hazard a guess, Jamil, that diving and paintball didn't do a whole lot for your sense of smell.
Did not. But a gnat farts in the next room, I'm like, sulfur. I'm getting sulfur. I don't know where it's coming from. I'm getting sulfur. I'll like freak people out. I'm like, where is that coming from? They're like, what? I'm like, oh my God, the smoke. They're like, what smoke? Either I'm having a stroke or I'm smelling things. It's one or the other.
No, I've found that my sense of smell is really heightened over the last several years as well, to the point where it's offensive to smell a lot of perfume or cologne on somebody.
Oh, I can't. I don't use any myself because, I'd be inundated all day long. I wouldn't be able to smell things. So, yeah. No, it's helped me with food. It's helped me with everything. It's really great to be able to pick up just some of the most subtle little things.
So to be clean, don't be stinky.
To master your craft well enough to be, really extremely good at what you do. I tell you, John, we got another friend who's just as good at what he does. You know who I'm talking about?
I do indeed.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, okay. It's John Blickman, right?
Right. I think we're on
the same page. Yes.
I think.
Yes.
I was going to say I think we're quite out of tune. I think this used to go much smoother in the past. I don't know if you're having a little too much of Kurt's Mead. Michael's Mead.
Kurt's apple pie.
Wrong.
Yeah. Right. Blickman Engineering, our fine sponsor. They make some of the greatest products out there. I think if you're looking, especially innovative, they're not just cranking out yet another pot stamped out of metal and china. Here you go. They're looking at ways of making a brew kettle better, ways of making hot back better, ways of making a bottle filler better. The beer gun.
Engineering really listens to the customers. They listen to the forums. They are really trying to bring a product to them,
absolutely,
to everybody that really works for them.
But they brew themselves, and that's one of the reasons they make such innovative products, because it's coming from a home brewer mentality of, I need to make this better. How do I make this process of brewing better? What's the pain point? And we've all had those pain points when we're home brewing, and then they take it further and try and find a solution for you.
And the simple solutions that are really effective.
Right. No, that beer gun thing is just genius. They do so many great things. And I tell you, one of the greatest things they do is they pay for the show so you don't have to. The least you can do is go to BlickmanEngineering.com, check out all the goodies there, email feedback at BlickmanEngineering.com, and tell them how much you appreciate them paying for the show so you don't have to. Yes, I'm stumbling, Bevo. It's all the mead.
She's counting her
It's
money.
Not you.
I'm judging you quietly.
Well, thank you. But not, if we had blinds for this window, so I didn't have to see you judging me quietly.
Sorry, I'll stop.
That's okay.
Ooh, she's rolling her eyes.
Okay, I will turn this way and look at Porno Steve. Thank you very much. Hey, Porno Steve. How's it going?
Hey.
He doesn't judge me.
Yes, he does.
Well,
silently.
Yeah. Right.
Silently.
That's true. All right, so everybody judges me. That's fine. But check out Blickman Engineering. Check them out. Great stuff there. Great people. Great friends of the show. Today, since we've got Michael here with us, we thought that we would do a Q&A around mead and honey and all that sort of thing. Meads and ciders.
Yeah, it's good to have an expert in the house.
Yes.
As opposed to usual.
Right.
Just the two of us.
The experts that we are.
That you are, yes.
Right. The definition expert, has been that's drip under pressure, yes. Expert, yes. No? Nobody?
Right.
Jeez. Yeah. Crickets? Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. All right.
Don't try this at home.
Don't try this. We are experts. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I will shut up. You guys can do this whole show on your own. I don't need dragged around with all your troublemaking. Okay, fine. I need to reset. I think we take a short break. When we come back, we'll have questions about mead for Michael and John, and I'll just sit quiet the whole night.
Get him another glass of mead. This is amazing.
We'll be back right after this.
Are you looking for a simple brewing system that's great for all grain brewing, but everything on the market seems to be full of compromises? Blickman Engineering has the answer. The Blickman Brew Easy All Grain Brewing System. The Brew Easy is a complete system with easy upgrades and a beautiful compact design, perfect for any size brewing location. At its core, the Brew Easy is built on two gorgeous Blickman Boilermaker brew kettles, a high-temperature March pump, and either a top-tier gas burner or the new Boil Coil electric heater. The Brew Easy adapter lid allows the pots to stack on top of each other, forming an efficient, strong, and compact brewing setup that comes in 5, 10, and 20-gallon batch sizes. Upgrade your Brew Easy system with full automated control by adding a Blickman Tower of Power temp controller, and make moving around easy with the Blickman Kettle Cart. The Brew Easy is modular. If you already own a Boilermaker kettle, you can build your Brew Easy by purchasing just the modules you need. The new Brew Easy all-grain brewing system. See it today at BlickmanEngineering.com and brew with Blickman quality on your new Brew Easy. Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing, and like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making. When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for every beer style. I want a Cicerone.
The Cicerone Certification Program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious. Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star San, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
Do you like beer? They make beer.
Watch out!
Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun.
Watch out!
Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring
Monk's Blood.
Made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of
Monk's Blood. The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
Back to the beer guys that make other beer guys look like wine guys. Brew Strong.
All right, we're back with our good friend Michael Fairbrother of Moonlight Meadery from New Hampshire. All right, Steve, our first question. If you have questions, you can send them to Brew Strong at thebrewingnetwork.com, and we will, at some point in time, before we die, get to those questions. Although we've been doing
because we're not giving up on this show anytime soon.
We have done much better. I think what will happen is, like, Justin will die, like Bevo will run the thing for a few months, and then she'll be like, no, this ain't worth it. And then we'll still be going like, well, we're ready to do shows, and we'll be showing up, and there will be like no Brewing Network, and we'll still be there. That's what I think.
I don't really see that happening.
Right, the 3 months of you running it, you're just like, screw that.
Evo's never giving up.
Not happening.
No.
Oh, she's giving up.
She's persistent.
I'm committed.
You should be committed. Yeah.
And she's much younger than Justin, so it'll be a good long run.
Considerably healthier also.
Considerably better looking as well.
Well, let's hope so.
All right, first question.
All right. I've been using a Belgian beer yeast strain for everything lately. Beer, mead, cider. Can you talk about how to manipulate a single strain to do/produce different contribution flavors to a batch? How to use one strain and get different results. I really like my strain, and I know you use one single strain in all your meads.
Well, the easy answer to that question is temperature control, nutrients, and oxygen levels. So knowing your yeast strain and knowing what its parameters are, you can then push it to different characteristics that you're looking for. So for the yeast that the listener was mentioning, Lavalin 71B, it likes a fairly high nutrient content, likes a pretty stable temperature profile to work with, and it's normally good for about 12-13% alcohol. But we've been able to push that up to 16-17% by working within the parameters that we have.
Well, so you normally use wine yeast then, Michael?
That's exclusively what we use for all the meads and ciders we make.
Okay.
Well, and one of the things I think, I think it's great to push yeast to have different characteristics. I think the one thing to be careful of is pushing them to a point where you're stressing them where they produce undesirable flavors like sulfur.
That's a good point.
Or pushing them to a point where they don't attenuate well enough anymore, and you end up with something that just feels unfermented. I think that's less of an issue with mead than it is with beer. When wort goes unfermented, it has that worty, uncooked, unfinished kind of character to it. But with honey, I think it's less of an issue. I mean, you get sweetness,
sort of,
but you don't get kind of like an unfermented honey flavor.
So, don't ever back sweeten your meads with honey because then you get the raw honey note to it. But when, like in winter in New England, it's pretty cold for us, and we don't have a heater built into our glycol unit, so we're really at the mercy of what the temperature of our facility is, and 25-foot tall ceilings with a little space heater at the top of the unit. Extremely expensive way to heat your facility and try to manage the temperature of your meads.
Do you have to go out every day and rub your units to help warm them up?
I check them to make sure they fit nice and snug, yes.
Okay.
But back to your question at hand, or that's not the right pun. So temperature-wise, if it's cold, it tends to shrink the fermentation. So it doesn't ferment as well and attenuate to where you might like it to finish at. So if you want a happy ending, you want to keep the temperature and the, how do I want to say this? In the optimum satisfaction range to get the results you're looking for.
There you go.
Bevo's blushing, by the way.
I tapped out. I can't. I quit.
If you want the ultimate satisfaction, I'll tell you what you should do is check out the Sour Hour. I sat in on the Sour. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought, a bunch of clever folks really talking in detail about all the little aspects of making sours. So if you're interested in sours, I cannot recommend a better resource. Michael Tonsmeyer's book, American Sours, is pretty excellent. But there's a lot of good stuff out there. But, the Sour Hour puts it in an approachable, easy to understand format, and it's free. You check it out, brewingnetwork.com. There are a lot of great shows there. The Sunday Session, Brewing with Style, Dr. Homebrew, and the Sour Hour. Check them all out. Good stuff you can learn from every one of those shows. If you enjoy learning on Brew Strong, well, that's your best show to listen to. But those other ones are not so bad either. I would check them out as soon as you can.
There you go.
All right. Well, and I would beer-wise on a Belgian yeast, I think you can mess around with the pitch levels. Now, we're not talking about getting to a point where you're not pitching enough that the yeast can't grow to fully attenuate the batch. But we're talking about, reducing your pitching rate to a point where there is more growth or, there is a little bit more for each cell to do. And you get to that point, you get different flavors out of it. And people say, well, should I underpitch my yeast? That's what, they talk about for things like, German Hefeweizen and things like that. Like, no. Yeah. You never want to underpitch your yeast. The definition of underpitching is you didn't pitch enough, right? Now, if you're adjusting your rate down and getting the flavor you want and still getting good attenuation and good overall character, that's the proper pitching rate. It's less than some other pitching rates that you might want, or you might increase it to get a different character.
And I look at yeast as the canvas to which I paint the flavors on. So for whether it's beer or mead or cider, it's a question of what am I trying to achieve?
Right.
And the yeast is the platform from which I can build upon that. So if you're trying to use the same, like the listener asked, what type of same yeast for different things, okay, your yeast is your starting point. If you understand that yeast, then you can build upon its strengths to make the best beverage, whether it's beer, mead, or cider, that you would like to from that particular strain.
Well, and like we were talking about, we were doing a collaboration earlier today, our Bloody Bee, which is a big
20%.
Well, that's what we're shooting for, 20% Belgian Golden with blood orange and
orange blossom honey.
Orange blossom honey. Our first conversation was, all right, yeast. What kind of yeast we use? Why are we using it? What's our approach to fermenting this? What kind of character is that going to give? That was, probably, our most important conversation. But
and so when we're having that conversation about whether it's going to be a Belgian yeast or whether it's going to be a distiller's yeast or a wine yeast, we were looking at what were the characteristics that the yeast is going to contribute. So Jamil and I were both trying to figure out what is the canvas from where we're starting from and what are we trying to achieve.
And we had kind of locked in some of our other components, and so we wanted to see how that played with those other components.
But we didn't want to step on those either, right? So we didn't want to lose that orange blossom or the blood orange notes or the the characteristics that we're trying to hold true for to make this ragged.
Exactly. Right.
John, you snoring?
No, I'm just thinking deeply. Michael, do you have experience with like distiller's yeast? Have you brewed meads with say beer yeasts or distiller's yeast? And what characters do those generally give?
So I've brewed mead with every kind of yeast but distiller's yeast. So I have no experience with distiller's yeast. I've made beer and meads with Fleischmann's bread yeast and everything in between. So I can say that when I finally picked a style of yeast and wanted to make it where I go from for every single batch is when I really changed the corner. So I used to flip between Lavlin D70 or 47D and 71B quite a bit, and I'd play around with dry yeast strains that are wine strains.
Okay, I don't know wine yeasts at all, so
okay. Well, 71B is from Narrowbone, France, kind of isolated for really soft, fruity characteristics, and I can't tell you all that much about 47D. But those two are the ones that I hear the most in the mead world that I work in, of ones that people use. There's commercially available yeast from White Labs and Y yeast that have specific strains. Again, I've used them in the past. I don't put a lot of attention into them because we use an awful lot of mead yeast, and we want consistency.
Well, and I think one of the differences between using beer yeast and a wine yeast for mead, and I've tried both as well. The problem with a beer yeast is that it seems not bright enough. I don't think it generates as much acidity as the wine yeast do.
And so the maltose levels that are in honey, and there are some, is minuscule compared to what you'd find in a beer. So your yeast strains have really been kind of cultivated for what they're really good at. Mm-hmm. And so if you're taking a maltose-based mead, like a beer mead yeast, and trying to make a mead from it, it doesn't have a lot of what it's looking for. So you want to bring the guy that wants to eat at a buffet to a buffet table and not take him to a French gourmet restaurant. There's a different level of expectation on both the consumer and the establishment for who's going to enjoy what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because mead or honey is mostly fructose,
correct,
which is a monosaccharide, as opposed to maltose, which is a disaccharide.
Like wine grapes are also mostly fructose.
Fructose, yes.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. Next question, Porno Steve.
All right. Jamil, John, and the rest of the Brewing Network, thanks for years' worth of free knowledge. My brewing has improved tenfold. However, my wife and kids think I need another hobby other than listening to the Brewing Network. I disagree. Years' worth, decades worth.
Decades worth
of free knowledge.
Decade worth.
Decade, singular.
Is that deca?
Yeah. Oh. I make mostly meads and ciders because my LHBS is run by an idiot, and he won't order anything.
Local homebrew shop, LHBS.
And Northern Brewer won't ship to Canada.
We got to get Steve all trained up.
You should annotate these before I read them.
No, it's much more funny to
just
have you read them
live. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
LHBS.
It's time
local
for me to step
shop.
up my game.
Yes.
This guy's really fun.
Did he write that? Or did you?
He's reading. He's reading all. This is his writing.
Oh, I thought you needed.
Just wait until the next sentence. Yeah. As much as I like to spice things up in the bedroom, I really want to spice things up in my fermenter first. The problem is, I really don't know how to do it. I was hoping Brew Strong could do a show on spicing, i.e., how to spice, when to spice, how much, and what yeasts go best with spicing, and what strains to avoid. I would be curious as well to know about spice stability. Thanks.
How many times did you use spice in that paragraph?
Like 5 or 6.
Michael, you make some spiced meads?
We do, actually, and we've won gold medal back-to-back at the International Mazer Cup for 2 of our spiced methaglins. So what I've been able to ascertain is that you don't want to hammer it home. You don't want to overbuild your spices. You want it to be subtle, but yet affirming of where they are so that your brain can really kind of piece in the gaps. What I find works best is you need a fairly sweet mead. The drier the mead, the less it's going to support the spices. And then you'd never want to add your spices in primary. You want to add your spices in post-fermentation so that you can control the amount of time that the spice is sitting on the mead to get the flavor to where you like it to get to.
Mm-hmm. That way so it's kind of a cold spicing then?
Yeah, almost like dry hopping. So like we make a 3-pepper mead called Fury, which is ghost peppers, habanero peppers, and Trinidad Margaux scorpion peppers. And we let the mead settle, and it's an orange blossom-based mead on the peppers for 72 hours. So I tasted the mead every 12 hours to kind of figure out where the heat level index was, where the flavor was and aroma. And at 72 hours, I said, okay, enough. We want to take this out of here and rack this off and bottle it. And we did that, and it took a gold this past year. Now, we also make a mead, which is called Wicked, which is ginger and vanilla. And the same kind of strategy holds through, which is 72 hours on the ginger and vanilla. And we never slice our vanilla beans in half or scrape them or any of that kind of stuff. It's just vanilla beans go in. And the ginger, same thing. We don't pulverize it or, we're buying dried ginger. And, so we can measure the quantity that we're putting in. And so for like a 16 or 60-gallon batch, we're using about 4 ounces of dried ginger and 12 vanilla beans in this example for the Wicked. And at 72 hours, you get the ginger in the aroma and flavor, you get the vanilla, and then you get the honey. And so all those three flavors, and Wicked has won 2 years in a row at the International Mazer Contest. And my friends love to tell me I only took a bronze this year, but Fury took gold. So 2 of the top 3 in the world were mine. There's something to it, which is get your mead to where you like it to be so it's delicious and tasty, and then figure out your spicing of where you want to go to, and then probably sample it along the way to see where you're going to go. I never use cloves in my mead because I don't like the way clove represents itself. And I've been asked for 5 years in a row to make a pumpkin mead, and I just won't do it because I'm not a fan of cloves and honey. But maybe if I alleviate the clove and go with a ginger, nutmeg, or cinnamon type
allspice,
of thing, a little allspice, I can get the flavor concept of a pumpkin or eggnog type of mead. But, the key is balance of your flavor. And what I've seen when I try to make drier meads is customers' reactions, which is, all right, that's nice, and I like it, but they weren't buying it. And when I bump the sweetness level up to support the spices, because honey's kind of like this glue element, right? It's kind of like vanilla. When you make a chocolate cake, you add a little vanilla to it, which really kind of glues the chocolate flavors together, and it makes it a little softer and a little more approachable. So the honey is that same kind of elevator status. So if you want that spice, and our Fury has liftoff. I mean, that spice goes up quick, and you think, oh my God, this thing is going to burn the daylights out of me. And then it crashes, and all that honey comes in and takes away that heat. Sweetness. So you get that liftoff really quick, and then the splash of the honey, and it's just so damn drinkable. And, I've had some jalapeno or habanero beers that just get way over the top really quickly, and you can't figure out what are you going to do with this. I mean, if you really like it hot, that's possible. But, for somebody like me in New England where, hot is like mild salsa on nachos, we're pretty timid up that way.
I think, I'd agree with a lot of that. I think, the sweetness is an important part especially when you're working with a flavor that people conceive of as sweet, like vanilla is conceived of as a sweet flavor. So you need the sweetness, residual sweetness to carry it. Chocolate is the same way. A lot of these flavors need that residual sweetness to really give the person the impression that it exists. I think when you're going in the drier realm of beers, I would say you want to go with something that is conceived of as refreshing. So, like if you're looking for, let's mix vegetables in there. You're looking like cucumber. Cucumber is a refreshing vegetable, right? So you want a drier beer, refreshing, and you want to put something with a drier beer, you go refreshing. If you go something too hot and spicy or something that's should be perceived of as sweet, and you put that in a dry beer, it just doesn't work. It's like vanilla in a super dry beer does not taste like vanilla.
Have you tried a cucumber beer?
I've tried a number of cucumber beers, believe it or not. It's really quite the thing now.
Wow.
With the hipster crowd, right, Steve?
We
I'm so sheltered.
Had one on tap 2 months ago. It was from Flattail Brewing.
Right.
Out from Corvallis.
There's a lot of cucumber.
My wife will tell you a story of the time I saw this what looked like, I thought were limes in this water jug in the hotel lobby. And so I pour myself a glass expecting a lime, and I got a mouthful of cucumber juice. And that doesn't sound right on the show.
It's all popular.
If you're not prepared for it, it's unpleasant.
But I think, you need to have a mindset of the concept of what you're doing. As far as yeasts go, I would say that when you're looking at the spicy yeasts, you're looking at the Belgians, things like that. You need to avoid putting spice with spice, or if you're doing it, it needs to be complementary. It can't be overwhelming. If you're doing something a yeast that will dry the beer out and make the beer very dry and an open thing, you need to, again, go refreshing, or tend towards the sweeter.
Yeah, and that's why I was
attenuative.
saying take your spices in after. So whether you're making a beer or a mead or even a cider that is going to be spiced, do so after fermentation so you know where you're starting from. And then use your mind to help you guide of where you're looking to go. And then you can do what a chef does, which is taste as you make this so you can get it to where you want it to be.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
Michael, I'm drinking the Kurtz apple pie right now, and this has a really nice, soft spice level to it. Do you use what spices do you use in this particular mead?
So that's Vietnamese cinnamon and Madagascar bourbon vanilla beans.
Okay.
And the specificity on the ingredients matters because traditional store-bought cinnamon isn't from a cinnamon tree, so it's a different
type of cinnamon.
Of cinnamon. Doesn't have the right level of cinnamon oil to give you that flavor profile. And so with Vietnamese cinnamon, you can use 10 times less and get 10 times more flavor. And so for us on a 5-gallon batch, I believe you're looking at like a teaspoon of Vietnamese cinnamon and maybe 3 vanilla beans in that 5-gallon batch. And that's then aged, usually for us, we're aging our Kurtz apple pie for several months, mostly because we make it here in the fall in New England. And we're looking to bottle it sometime in the early March, May timeframe. So, we're getting several months on that flavor. But, we find that the cinnamon and vanilla really help age and complement the notes of the apple and the honey.
Yeah. I taste that.
Okay, great. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more questions right after this.
Beer tasting games that train your palate, a brewery locator, and the brand new interactive beer style guide. These are just a few of the awesome things you'll find on craftbeer.com. The style guide is a beautiful example of technology in beer. Browse beer style families or turn on the automatic beer style finder and explore beer through color, bitterness, ABV, aroma, and flavor. It's really the coolest way to explore every beer style besides having them all in front of you. Go to craftbeer.com and click on Beer Styles to start the guide. Plus, enjoy the rest of craftbeer.com, the Brewers Banter blogs, beer education, how to host a beer tasting, and the invaluable Draft Quality Manual. Tons of great content that makes your beer better. Visit the new craftbeer.com right now and explore the website that brings you all the passion, camaraderie, and creativity of the craft beer community. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer. A few things happened 30 years ago.
ARPANET migrated to TCP/IP, and the Internet was born. Revenge of the Jedi was renamed Return of the Jedi and opened in theaters. Mila Kunis and Emily Blunt were born, beginning a rad fantasy in my mind.
But all of that pales next to the fact that HopTech opened its doors and began blowing homebrewers right out of their mash tuns. HopTech doesn't fuck around. Real people shipping awesome shit straight to you. Their new website is fast and easy to navigate. Or just call 800-379-4677 and let badass bitch Jade and the gadget guy Roberto blow their warm load of customer service all over you. So visit the site or visit the store in Dublin, California and support those that support you. Get your brewing on at hoptech.com. Blickman Engineering is proud to announce the launch of a completely new brand of brewing equipment. Kettles, burners, and accessories. Trustworthy everyday gear that helps you forge and shape outstanding beer the way you want. It's called Anvil Brewing Equipment.
Hi, I'm John Palmer. You may remember me from such self-help books as How to Brew, Brewing Classic Styles, Water, and the Brew Strong podcast. I am very pleased to announce the debut of Anvil Brewing products from Blickman Engineering. I have been working closely with them these past few years to develop products that combine the best of materials, features, and price point. Each of these products has been developed, tested, and reviewed to meet these ideals and bears the Palmer Brewing Solutions stamp of approval on the packaging. Anvil Brewing products, inspired by Palmer, built by Blickman, and made for you.
Check out AnvilBrewing.com. Anvil. Durable, reliable, dependable. Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and the freshest ingredients, backed by the best customer service in the business. Do you like to mash using efficient fly sparging, but would like an easy way to heat your strike and sparge water? Enter the new Brewer's Edge electric mash water heater, a plug-in, anywhere, precisely controlled heater for strike and sparge water. Ditch the fumes and second burner and make mashing easy. Go to williamsbrewing.com today and browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays ship the same day. Brewing is easy the Williams way. There are two types of people in the world, naughty and nice. GrogTag is letting you tell it like it is with their naughty or nice labels for the holidays. Grandma getting you down? Slap a naughty label on that 4-year-old pale ale and put it under the tree. Did your Uncle Sal add you to his will? Well, he deserves your freshest batch of IPA with a custom nice label. Pick up one set of each and take 25% off your order by either entering code NAUGHTY or NICE at checkout. We all know how much beer you have to get rid of, so why not make it look good? Go find them at grogtag.com and don't forget to sign up for their newsletter to learn about their upcoming Black Friday sale and the Gifting with GrogTag 12-day sale during Christmas. GrogTag. At least your beer will look good.
Back to the two guys that know how to turn beer into beer. This is Brew Strong.
Wow. Mead will make you do that, I think. Make you say, woohoo! You know what'll also making me say woohoo is this iDip water tester. Seems pretty cool, pretty easy, pretty simple for those who you don't want to do math, you don't want to get into the titration. You dip the strip, you do the reading on the strip. Couldn't be simpler, and does things like total alkalinity, chloride, calcium hardness, pH, sulfite, and a bunch more. In fact, there's over 35 different water tests, and 4 come preloaded. It's an app that links the device to your smartphone using Bluetooth, and you can get those results instantly. You can email them to a friend. You can share them with your brew club. I mean, very cool. You can get that at www.smartbrewkit.com. Enter the code TBN15 right now to receive free shipping and a bottle of reagent. All for free. That's a $70 value right there from using the Brewing Network code TBN15. So check it out, smartbrewkit.com. All right, what's our next question there, Steve?
All right. Got one from John. He says, I've listened to your mead show a couple times now and did the orange blossom vanilla mead you described in one of the shows. He followed every step to the T, except he resized everything for 3 gallons instead of 5 gallons for money reasons. In the show, you kind of glanced over it, but I heard you say the final gravity would be approximately 1.028. My version got stuck at 1.048 and is pretty sweet. Not cloying, though. I bought a single pack of Lalvin EC1118, rehydrated it, and tossed it in with some more nutrients. It went nowhere and is still at 1.048.
Well, that's because just tossing more yeast into something that's almost alcohol, lots of alcohol and very little nutrient and very little sugar is not going to do anything.
Yeah, and it depends on what the pH is.
Yeah, the pH is dropped. I mean, there's just so many factors that make that just not working. You got to start with good yeast.
Time might help because we've had batches of mead that I've made very, very small batches that have taken well over a year and a half to get to finish, mostly because of the pH window that can change on a mead.
He just asks, is that final gravity okay for that certain category example, or is that his final gravity in the
right.
sweet? Yeah, that's what he asked.
You know, it's going to depend on what it tastes like, right? So if it tastes, absolutely fantastic, this is one of the best sweet meads I've ever had. Well, then the answer is yes. Don't let the numbers, drive what you're doing. The numbers are a guide as to repeatability, but they're not the end-all, be-all as to flavor. Numbers do not speak to flavor. Flavor can be, you can't necessarily describe flavor by numbers.
An acid balance would help whether your mead was cloying and you needed to bring it down. You could adjust the pH of that to get it to a level where you think it's better. And I would do small test batches.
That, Michael, I mean, what is the pH of some of your meads? I mean, for comparison.
They range usually about around 3.
Okay.
2.57 up to 3 point something. Not usually above 4.
Yeah. See, now that's quite different from most beers, really.
Which would tend to be over 4.
Yeah.
Low 4s.
Yeah, 4 to 4.4 kind of thing. 4.5 maybe.
It got above a 4 making a mead. You got stability challenges with it going to. You can't use sulfites or sorbates at that point to really kind of get it into line for not re-fermenting in the bottle.
Well, that's why I say the wine yeast tend to produce more acid.
Yeah.
The honey has very little buffering capacity for acidity.
I was going to comment there with that statement, Jamil. In terms of the wine yeasts tend to produce more acid, I want to clarify that these yeasts don't actually produce acid like, say, Pediococcus or Lactobacillus.
Yeah. Yes.
What they're doing is they are excreting more protons during the fermentation process, which is lowering the acidity or lowering the pH of the mead or the wine, as opposed to actually creating acid.
Exactly. It results in a more acidic beverage.
Yes.
It would be more accurate, yes.
And honey by itself has got a ton of buffering capacity. So if you try to adjust your mead with, starting fermentation pH with either acid or a base, it's going to, look like it's dipping down, but it's going to come right back. So it takes a persistently long adjustment to get it to kind of go into a new position. That's where, like I said, I got this one mead that I made, kind of using what I call the caveman technique, which is it was just honey, water, little yeast added, and we didn't stir it up, and we let the yeast do the mixing.
But the I think what I'm talking about is, the honey almost completely ferments out. There's very little residual honey there. The buffering capacity, once fermentation's done, is gone. Now, when you start out, there perhaps is good buffering capacity, but I believe that is gone by the time you reach terminal. Yeah, and which again results in more acidic final product, or more a lower pH product in the end. And I think that is the key to quality mead and great fermentation. If you end up, like you're saying, with a higher pH, either you haven't attenuated out enough of the honey, or you used a yeast that perhaps is not producing the drop in pH that's desired.
Right, and so with this questioner's question, is well, I forget the number he gave us, but is that sweetness level too sweet? Mm-hmm. So 1048 is like what, 4 bricks? No, 10 bricks.
12.
Yeah, 10 to 12 bricks.
Yeah.
So that's pretty sweet, but not super sweet. I mean, I've had people enter meads in competition that are close to 20 bricks.
Ugh.
That's sweet.
Right. So if they didn't ferment them at all, or what? I'll mix some honey with some water. How does that taste? How's my mead?
Like honey.
Yes.
Now he had one little question at the very end. When you put the vanilla bean in, would that help counter sweetness?
Not really. I mean, a vanilla bean isn't really acidic or spicy, and vanilla beans by themselves are really not that sweet. Like
it'll give some dimension to the sweetness.
But yeah, exactly. I think, but that's the thing is, like we were saying earlier, you need sweetness to make vanilla really seem like vanilla.
And vanilla also works really well with other ingredients. Now, we do make a mead that's just vanilla and honey based, and we don't add any tannins to it. And it does come out tasting quite delicious, but you need the sweetness to support the vanilla in this case.
I would say to this person, I would check your initial fermentation, your initial nutrients, your initial oxygen, maybe staggered nutrient additions throughout the ferment as well.
And I would guess the yeast wasn't able to accomplish the job that you were trying to achieve.
Right.
So higher pitching rate then, or?
Yeah. So your nutrient levels were too low, and your pitching rate was too low. So if you're spending the first 3 days focusing on yeast management and growth, then you've got a much better chance of getting to the end result you're looking for.
How much yeast are you using for a mead? Your dry yeast, your 71B. How much are you shooting?
Essentially 1 gram per gallon for dry.
Okay.
And then we rehydrate that and stagger the nutrients every 24 hours for the first 3 days.
There you go. There's your answer. All right, one more question, and then we're going to take a break.
All right. What's the best way to grow mead or wine yeast from a small test tube size for pitching in mead? I use Y yeast smack packs because that's what my local homebrew store carries. For beer yeast, I usually split the packs into a few test tubes and then grow yeast up in flasks of DME wort at about 1.040, stepping up in volumes of 100 milliliters to 500 milliliters to 2 to 5 liters depending on requirements. This last size is usually the finished wort pitched near correct pitching temps and added to the full batch. Does mead or wine yeast need to be treated differently? I currently have test tubes of 4184 sweet mead and 4783 Rudesheimer and would like to propagate them up to 20 liters batch size amounts.
Well, I think it's important to, if you're propagating beer yeast, I think it's important to provide the maltose. So they don't lose the ability to produce the enzyme that'll allow them to consume maltose. But I think generally, as a rule of thumb, whatever you're targeting your yeast to consume, in this case fructose, you probably grow them up on fructose. I would use honey to grow yeast for mead. I think that's ideal.
When we're taking that 500-gram pack to make a 500-gallon batch, we're making a 5-gallon slurry at about 1030 or 1.030 starting gravity with some honey to let that yeast, after it's been rehydrated, go to work, proof that it's fermenting or capable of growth, and then we pitch that into our batch. And we're looking at about a 2-hour window from start to finish on that, rehydration, proofing, and pitch to get that batch ready to go into production.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what level or what kind of nutrients and how much nutrient are you pitching during this 3-day fermentation?
So we use GoFerm for rehydration, and then we use Fermaid K. There's a couple different variants of Fermaid, but Fermaid K is a combination of some organic nutrients or nitrogen, as well as some DAP. And we find that works fairly well for us. So it's got some yeast sterols and some other components that really kind of help fortify that outer shell of the yeast so that they're really in the capacity to multiply.
Yeah. Now, the DAP is diammonium phosphate and not necessarily a wall spackling compound, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I don't use joint compound in my yeast production facilities. But, so diammonium phosphate gives you a strong ammonia type of aroma. So that's why we don't use DAP straight. We do use it with Fermaid K. If you wanted to go with the organic option, that's where Fermaid O comes from. And I can't remember off the top of my head what Fermaid A, I think it's A stands for.
So a lot of times you used to use urea as part of the, where that comes from. I'm just saying.
Yep, that's more diammonium phosphate.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll wrap up with a few of your questions right after this.
Ken Grossman of Sierra Nevada Brewing Company says making great beer is hard. Making the same great beer every day is harder. Brewers Publications announces its latest release for breweries of any type and size. Quality Management, an essential guide for brewers by Mary Pelletieri. Proper quality management for small, regional, and national breweries is critical. Whether you are an established business or brand new, learn the best ways to create and manage a quality system in your brewery. This book will guide you in developing a comprehensive program that will grow with your brewery, help ensure quality processes in the brewery, and continue providing great beer for your fans. Quality management for breweries is critical for continued success. This guidebook teaches you to integrate quality management in every level of the operation. It will guide you in developing a comprehensive program to ensure quality processes in your brewery. Quality Management, an essential guide for brewers, now available from Brewers Publications. Learn more at brewerspublications.com. Your support of the Brewing Network means everything to us. We couldn't produce shows without you. And we love giving you something extra for that support, like Brew Your Own magazine. You already know it's a great brewing magazine full of recipes, equipment how-tos, discussions of beer styles, and brewing techniques. Whether you're new to brewing and just starting out or you're an old pro, you'll always learn something from the articles in Brew Your Own. Plus, there are amazing special issues like plans for building a Brutus 10 system, 250 classic clone recipes, and the Homebrewer's Answer Book. Brew Your Own magazine and BYO.com are awesome resources for any brewer, whether for yourself or as a gift. When you subscribe or resubscribe from the Brewing Network homepage, you directly support programs like this. Get a great magazine and support the Brewing Network. Subscribe to Brew Your Own right from thebrewingnetwork.com.
Say hello to my little friend.
You've heard about White Labs Pure Pitch yeast. Pure Pitch is yeast grown right in its final packaging. That means yeast that has never been exposed to the environment. And White Labs Pure Pitch yeast for homebrewers is now available to everyone at homebrew retailers nationwide. Easy to use, perfectly sized, and ready to pitch. White Labs yeast, packaged using their Flex Cell process, ensures the purest yeast on the market. Visit whitelabs.com to learn more about Pure Pitch, Flex Cell technology, and how it's created. Then visit a homebrew retailer near you for your own perfectly sized package of Pure Pitch yeast. And you can say hello to your own little friend. www.whitelabs.com.
Learning to brew has never been so disgusting. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. Enjoying a Q&A session on meads and honeys and things like that with our good friend Michael Fairbrother from Moonlight, Meadery in New Hampshire. John, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Are you getting enough?
Yeah, I consider I'm getting enough sleep.
Oh, I bet you'd love more, right?
Yeah.
Well,
something more
Adam
than 6 hours would be good.
Eve wants to give you more. I'm telling you, if you go to Adam and Eve right now, adamandeve.com, you use the offer code Jamil, Jamil, at adamandeve.com, you're going to get 10 free gifts. First off, you're going to get a sexy surprise for her.
Okay.
Second, a specially selected toy for him. And third, a little something we know you're both going to enjoy. Plus, you're going to get 6 full-length adult movies on DVD. And I'll tell you, one of the categories is got Porno Steve in it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Boom, chicka, wow, wow. If you want to see Porno Steve on DVD, and get free shipping on your entire order.
You missed that. That was Bevo saying no from the other room.
On your and free shipping on your entire order, then go to adamandeve.com and use that offer code Jamil, Jamil, at adamandeve.com. All right, let's get to our final question there, Steve.
All right. That's from Zach. He says, "Hi guys, I was listening to the session and mead making was the topic. I've been getting into mead making on my second batch. The owner of Melovino said that he uses reverse osmosis water. I had remembered reading an article about the health effects of humans drinking mineral-depleted water. The consensus is that it is not all that good for you. Do you think that this is a potential problem for reverse osmosis water, mead, or not?"
No.
All right.
I'd also say no.
I would agree with the consensus of no.
Yeah,
So honey has a lot of mineral contents.
Yeah, there's ash content to honey. There's all sorts of things. The bees are out, they aren't the cleanest of critters, I think. They're out, they're rummaging around in the forest. They are
sucking the nectar out of the flowers.
Sucking nectar out of flowers. They're flying through polluted air, and God knows what's clinging to them little bastards when they vomit up the stuff.
And they do that multiple times, so they vomit from one to the other and then back.
Right.
Cross
vomiting. That's Steve's latest DVD. In case you're wondering. AdamandEve.com. And not to make it sound disgusting, but honey does contain a lot of nutrients, a lot of minerals, a lot of salts, a lot of other stuff. Not like the Dead Sea, but it's got its own balance to it. Yeah.
The darker the honey, the higher the metal content is of that honey. So I don't know if it's why I don't like darker honey meads. Per se, I've used one dark honey that I've really enjoyed, which is Arizona Wild Pecan Blossom honey. But for the most part, the darker the honey, the less I tend to like it when it's fermented through. I think it's that mineral content that you get that really doesn't work that well.
Do you think those darker honeys would be better served to use an RO water or a distilled water?
I haven't tried that,
that might
so
help?
I have no idea. That could be.
Reduce the overall mineral content. Do you think there's a
in terms of flavor, building off of beer flavor and minerals and salts and water, that I'd say there's a potential there, yes. But, in terms of the health risks or the health degradation due to drinking RO water, you're not going to be drinking enough mead for that to be a factor.
Well, I think the worry was
drink enough water where there's going to be a factor.
Right? Yeah.
If you drink RO water exclusively, yes, it will start, pulling the minerals out of your body.
So, forgo beer, forgo wine, forgo mead. Seriously, come on, who does that?
Right. You should die then.
So we're saying maybe if you live on mead, it might be a problem.
No. I think that the listener's question was, now how would this perhaps apply to yeast? Now, if you were growing up yeast with no mineral content in distilled water, and you are not providing the necessary minerals and nutrients that the yeast need for proper, cell division and the cell walls and things like that, yeah, absolutely, that's going to mess up the yeast. They're not going to produce the right flavors. They're going to actually have some troubles.
And if I was to speculate what Sergio was talking about when he was talking about using reverse RO water, is he's trying to get it to a nice clean state to start from.
Right.
So your nutrients that you're adding to get the yeast going is chock full of nitrogen, which is going to add nutrients to your water right back in to start with.
Right. And the mineral content, I suppose if you had a super light mead with very low mineral content, you're adding your nutrients and your minerals and all that as well, for supporting yeast health anyways. I mean, you want to add some zinc, you want to add, your free amino nitrogen, all that is an important part of making mead, making beers. So I think, just off of that, you should be fine.
And Melavino really is making some really world-class meads. So I've had Sergio's meads many times before, and he's really got a clean, kind of command of a flavor profile similar to what we're doing, which is not trying to make a lower ABV mead, but trying to make something big and bodied that has a lot of flavor to it.
Well, there you go. Great answers. Thank you, Michael, for joining us. We really appreciate having you here.
Yeah.
Nice to see you guys and talk to you again.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Yeah, maybe we'll do this again next year. What's our collaboration going to be next year, Michael?
I was thinking Evil Bee 2.0.
Evil Bee 2.0. Look for it in stores. You won't find it there, but look for it anyways. Also, look for our fine sponsors. Look for Blickman Engineering. Go BlickmanEngineering.com. Look for them at your local homebrew shop. Make sure to tell them how much you appreciate that they pay for the show so you don't have to. Email them at feedback@BlickmanEngineering.com. That's going to keep this show on the air, and we would appreciate that as well because we have nowhere else to go and drink. If you like the Brewing Network, check out all the other shows and go to thebrewingnetwork.com/store. And at the store, you can get all sorts of goodies there. You can get shirts, hats, hoodies, pants, shoes. They've got it all. Bevo's agreeing with me. They've got it all. And everything you buy there, the profits go directly to the bottom line of the Brewing Network and keep shows like this on the air. Until then, everybody, brew strong.
Yeah.
Brew strong, everyone.